So we've got the Red Wings and Pistons in action tonight, right?
Yeah, big games. Can't believe I think that the Pistons-Nets game is going to be a big game, but it is. They got to get their confidence back after the disgrace over the weekend.
I was out for dinner on Saturday night, and when we were waiting for our table, the game was on the TV at the bar, and saw that the Pistons were up by like 22. Like, oh, okay, well, they got this one in hand. It's a laugher, no problem. Sit down, have our meal, enjoying the company of good friends, and we were there for a couple hours, and then my friend had to get up and use facilities. He comes back to the table, and he goes, Pistons lost. I'm like, what? How did they lose? You got to be kidding me. No, they lost. He's like, yeah, they lost by 2 points.
Yeah, I was out to dinner. Same thing. We were with a few other couples, and my wife was facing the screen. I wasn't. I was just checking the score periodically on the phone. And then I saw that Brooklyn was making a comeback. And Cindy goes, don't look at your phone. You can just, switch seats with me and watch. I said, no, they're blowing this. I don't want to watch. I don't want to see it. And
because I will not pay any attention to what's going on at the table if I do that. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So both teams are playing non-playoff caliber teams at this point. Apparently Sam Reinhart is not going to play tonight for Florida. So the Red Wings get to catch a break there. They're doing some maintenance on him.
Is Bobrovsky playing? That's the question.
Well, yeah, because Bob was great against the Red Wings last time out, which was the last time that the Panthers played. So you had asked the question beforehand, which game is this bigger for?
Well, obviously, playoff related, it's bigger for the Red Wings because the Pistons are making the playoffs. Whether they're going to keep the 1 seed is the question. I just think for a confidence level, Pistons have to win this game and play well because all of a sudden, they're 5-5 since the break. Granted, they've had some injuries, but they've played some teams who have had injuries as well. So I'm not going to use the, Cade and Asar Thompson didn't play against Brooklyn, and Asar didn't play against Miami when they really didn't have a good defensive effort either. So I just think they needed to get their mojo back, whether that would help or not. And but the Red Wings is more important, obviously, because they have to pick up points. They cannot miss the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and I agree. It's obviously it's the Red Wings, but it doesn't mean that the Pistons game is not important because I agree with you. They've lost 4 straight. They've looked horrible, not just losing the 4 straight, but prior to that, it started with the San Antonio game where they lost at home. And it started really from the moment that they took Asar Thompson out of the game because J.B. Bickerstaff was unhappy with how Asar was playing defense. Mm-hmm. It was a 1-point game at that point. Took him out and didn't play him again, and the Pistons ended up getting blown out. And then he came back and played the next game. It was better for him, but they struggled in beating a really depleted Oklahoma City team.
They were very fortunate to win that game.
Yeah, they struggled in beating a depleted Cleveland team who didn't play with James Harden in that one, if I'm not mistaken.
And Donovan Mitchell.
And had to go to overtime. And then it started the 4-game losing streak after that. It's been a problem. Asar Thompson and Karis LeVert have already been ruled out for tonight's game. But it's the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets are not a good team. They're 17-47, but they did just beat the Pistons, which is kind of crazy.
Because they shot the lights out from 3, and the Pistons decided to leave guys like Williams and Michael Porter Jr. open for uncontested threes.
Yeah, which you don't want to see because Michael Porter Jr. was, of course, the player that everybody wanted to acquire at the trade deadline. Yes. It didn't happen, and it was all this is kind of compounding. The trade deadlines are always great. We had last week with the Red Wings. A couple weeks before that was the Pistons. We got free agency now. There's all these deadline periods of time in sports, and then you reflect before and after, I guess you only reflect after each deadline passes as to what could you have done, did you do enough or not. And with the Pistons, it's turning into, oh, crap, they really needed to do something, and they didn't if they wanted to really be a contender this year. They had the best record, but the roster could have used some improving, and they had ways to do it.
They thought that Herter was going to get better and go back to the way he was shooting 2 years ago, and it hasn't materialized. I like the fact that he's been playing a little bit. He had one move I did see on Saturday where he just took it to the hole, but he missed the layup. maybe he can be an elixir. Maybe you put him and Robinson in the lineup at the same time and really space the floor a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what they have to just get their mojo back.
Yeah.
Because they're not even defending the way they used to defend.
Well, one of the things that they had going for them during the suspension of Isaiah Stewart was the emergence of Paul Reed.
Yeah,
we haven't seen Paul Reed play much. And when he does, he's instant offense.
Right.
In very few minutes played, he's getting it done. I don't know if it's just, okay, is it garbage time that they're looking at that, or is JB Bickerstaff just like, okay, calm down. We still have a long season to go. We know where we're at. We know we're a good basketball team. We're working out a rotation. We're giving guys different opportunities here. That being said, I'm getting impatient with it because I do think Paul Reed is a plus player, and I think he needs to play every night and not just 5 minutes coming off the bench. Like, this is a guy who probably should play 15 minutes a night, 15 to 20, the way that he's played. If you're concerned about Jalen Duren getting into foul trouble, work with it.
Yeah.
But I can't tell JB Bickerstaff how to coach because Lord knows he knows way more about basketball than I'll ever forget.
Right, and he knows, all about B-ball Paul. And look, he's been great. He's been, in his skill set, he's been very good. He should be playing a little bit. But I'm not going to sit there and say, the reason the Pistons are going down the old toilet is because they're not using Paul Reed enough.
No, they're going down because they're not playing great defense.
Correct. And
that's their calling card.
And it's the deadline thing again. And look, Trajan Langdon has done a really good job of identifying talent on the margins, as he likes to call it. Guy, signing Dennis Jenkins to a big to a contract, even the first time, with the Motor City Cruise or whatever, was pretty good. Javonte Green has helped out a lot. But we're getting near playoff time. And it just, what bothers me the most is idiots like me and some fans. I'm not calling the fans the idiots. I'm calling me an idiot.
Fans that are like you.
Right. But why is it that in this situation, the fan/media idiot, me, wants to react and get the team better, at least in my opinion, than the general manager of the team?
Well,
now, look, to be fair, Michael Porter Jr. was on a name that everybody supposedly wanted, and Brooklyn didn't trade him. So maybe the asking price was absurd, or maybe they just had no intentions of trading him.
I would lean
Same
towards,
thing with Trey Murphy.
Yeah, I would lean towards the asking price is probably too high. For players that didn't get moved, that you thought for sure were going to get moved, it tells me that the price was too high and teams weren't willing to do it. It's kind of like looking at the NHL trade deadline, and you saw that Trocheck wasn't moved, Stamkos wasn't moved, Robert Thomas wasn't moved, a number of players, Ristolainen wasn't moved. Teams decided to hang on to their guys, and because they set the price, and the prices got astronomical in the NHL.
Yes.
And so, even with the Red Wings, the price they paid to acquire Justin Falk was kind of crazy, but it made sense because everything they gave up was something that we're not seeing right now.
Right.
Might as well add a top 4 defenseman, and so far it looks pretty good.
So, your Piston fans, are you concerned about not getting the 1 seed? Because you lead Boston by 2.5 games right now, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe so.
It's 2.5 games. And Boston, as good as Cleveland's been with Harden and Mitchell when they both play.
But they get Tatum back.
And not only do they get Tatum back, Jaylen Brown is just having an unbelievable season. And the big guy that they have, Kita, he's incredible. I mean, where'd they get this guy from? He's as good defensively as anybody the Pistons have. And he's a great rim protector. And they space the floor where guys like Pritchard, Luka Garza is making plays like 15 minutes a game and is making significant stuff for the Celtics.
I mean, former draft pick from the Pistons,
yes,
Luka Garza?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I was like, Luka Garza he was a great college player.
Yeah.
But thought he was going to be too slow to play in the NBA, but if he's giving you minutes, he's giving you minutes. And yeah, there's more competition now in the Eastern Conference than there was 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And part of it is trade, like James Harden going to Cleveland, a lot of his team getting healthy. And maybe the Knicks just not playing. Maybe the Pistons just have the Knicks number.
Right. It's all about matchups.
Yeah. And it's a bad matchup for the Knicks, just like the Pistons in San Antonio is a horrible matchup for the Pistons, although it might be a horrible matchup for the whole NBA going against Wembanyama. But 248-539-9797 is the telephone number. Same number to text if you want sound off that way. We're talking about the Pistons and the Red Wings. Both have big games tonight. Which one are you going to be paying more attention to? Because the Red Wings, obviously, they're in a fight to keep their head above water when it comes to Eastern Conference. After the trade deadline is come and gone, maybe some of the teams that were resigned to the fact that they're not going to make the playoffs, maybe that's going to level out a little bit. But the Red Wings, they're going for it. They add Justin Falk to the team. They're not going to get Dylan Larkin back tonight. I haven't seen anything about Gibson. I don't think he's going to play tonight yet either, but we'll check up and see if they've got any breaking news on that. But it's very important for the Red Wings to keep putting points up for the remainder of the season so they ensure that they're in the playoffs. But the Pistons, for a team that's absolutely cemented in the playoffs, they're not playing like a playoff basketball team, and that's concerning as well. We'll talk about it next year at 97.1.